Title: I attended the wedding of my son, whom I raised alone, but my place card said an educated fake father. The bride's wealthy family laughed. The next day, their world collapsed. Chapter 1. The insult at the wedding. I stood near the back of the glittering ballroom, tugging at the sleeves of my only suit, one I had bought years ago, from my sister's funeral and barely worn since. It was my son Daniel's wedding day. I had dreamed about this moment for over 2 decades, ever since his mother left without a goodbye, leaving me to raise him alone in a small 2-bedroom apartment above a grocery store. I worked 2 jobs, repairing water heaters during the day, and loading delivery trucks at night. Winters were cold, bills piled up, but I never let him go hungry. I never missed a school play, a soccer game, or a parent-teacher meeting. Now here we were. Hundreds of guests filled the lavish hall, with crystal chandeliers hanging above and the cake so tall it nearly touched the ceiling. I wasn't comfortable in this world of silk dresses and expensive champagne, but I was proud. Proud of him. That was, until I saw my place card at the family table. Beneath the gold-embossed father of the groom label, someone had written in looping script with a gold pen, "An educated fake father." I blinked. Surely, this was some tasteless joke. But then I heard it. The low chuckle from the bride's side. Her father, a retired corporate lawyer, smirked. Her mother hid her smile behind a napkin, and 2 cousins leaned toward each other, whispering before breaking into loud laughter. Heat crawled up my neck. I looked around for Daniel. He was across the room, smiling for photos with his new in-laws. He hadn't seen it. He couldn't have. I quietly flipped the card over to hide the words, but the snickering continued. Then, from somewhere to my left, I caught it. "Well, what did you expect? He fixes toilets. Probably didn't even finish high school." My stomach tightened. I stood up, deciding to leave. But before I could take a step, a hand gripped my wrist. I turned to see Daniel. His expression was calm, but his eyes burned with something fierce. "Dad," he said evenly, "let's go home." I hesitated. "Daniel, this is your wedding," I said. "Let's go home." The music stopped. Guests turned. He looked at his bride and her family and said clearly, "You've just made the biggest mistake of your lives." Without another word, he walked out with me into the cold night. The next day, everything changed. Chapter 2. The truth comes out. The ride home was silent, the city lights blurring past the car windows. Daniel's jaw was tight, hands steady on the wheel. He didn't speak until we reached the small apartment building where he'd raised him. As I reached for the keys, he said quietly, "I saw it, Dad." I froze. "The place card." He nodded. "Before you even sat down, I was watching. I wanted to see if they'd actually do it, if they'd humiliate you. And they did," I murmured. He reached into his pocket and handed me his phone. On the screen was a video head recorded from the side of the room. The bride's father laughing. He handed the gold pen to one of the cousins. Her mother saying, "Trailer trash in a tux." Imagine that. And then, the worst part, his bride herself, smiling and saying, "My real father is the man I'm marrying. That plumber, he's just for show." My chest tightened, but Danielle's face was steady. "Dad, I never told you this. I didn't sign the prenup." I stared at him. "You didn't." "They begged me to," he said. "Her father even promised to invest in my business if I did. But I had already built something, a tech security company, with my college friend. I kept living simply so no one would suspect." He leaned forward. "Last year, we sold the company. The deal made me more money than I ever dreamed of, enough to buy their business twice over." I sat down slowly. They thought I was just a status symbol, a project, but I was already playing my own game. He opened his laptop, fingers flying over the keys. "Tomorrow, they'll understand exactly who they tried to humiliate." Chapter 3. The boardroom coup. The next morning, Daniel was already dressed in a tailored suit. He handed me a folder filled with corporate documents. The bride's family owned the Marlowe Group, a chain of high-end hotels. Quietly, Daniel had been buying up minority shares over the last year through shell companies. I looked up at him. "You already own part of their company." He smiled. "Try 48%. And by 9 o'clock today, majority control. At 9:15 a.m., we walked into the Marlowe Group headquarters. The receptionist froze. The same people who had smirked at the wedding now avoided my eyes. In the boardroom, the bride's father, Richard Marlowe, sat at the head of the table. "What's the meaning of this?" he demanded. Daniel slid a thick document across the table. "Effective immediately, I control 51% of the Marlowe Group. Here is the legal proof." Richard's face paled as he read. You little." "No," Daniel interrupted. "I'm the son of the man you called a fake. The man who worked himself to the bone so I could succeed." The room was silent. "Effective today," Daniel continued, "you, your daughter, your wife, and every member of your family are terminated from any role in this company. Severance will be mailed." Gasps erupted. Richard slammed his fist on the table. "You can't do this." "I already have," Daniel said, standing. We walked out together, leaving the Marlowe legacy in pieces. Chapter 4. The final visit 2 weeks later. The story of the hostile takeover was all over the news. Headlines called Daniel the plumber's son who took down the elites. His ex-wife, Anna, disappeared from public view. Whispers of lawsuits and frozen accounts followed her family. Then, one rainy evening, there was a knock at Danielle's door. Anna stood there, rainwater dripping from her hair, clutching her designer bag. "Daniel, I made a mistake," she said, her voice shaking. "My parents pressured me. You realize," he interrupted calmly, "that the man you mocked now owns the roof over your head." She glanced past him at me. "Mr. Lewis, I'm sorry." I raised my hand. "You're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry for how it ended." Daniel took an envelope from his pocket. "Your parents signed this when they sold the last of their shares. It bans any member of your family from working in or owning anything connected to the Marlowe Group. That includes you." Tears filled her eyes. "Can't we just talk?" "You had your chance," Daniel said. "You chose humiliation over love. Now I choose silence." He closed the door. Epilogue. The real legacy 1 year later. Daniel launched a scholarship for students from working-class families. He named it the Lewis Foundation, after me. At the opening ceremony, the mayor asked him what inspired it. Daniel pointed to me in the front row. "That man, the one laughed at for fixing toilets. The one who taught me that real worth isn't money or titles. It's integrity, resilience, and heart." The applause was deafening, and for the first time in my life, I felt like the richest man in the world.